for alt. I don't know if I'm thrilled by that response, but we'll see if they play it. Maybe they big brain diff that. We'll see and go from there.
Yeah, I think it definitely, if you're going shell, it's definitely a certain play style you have to play around that, knowing that you're about to dash in, most likely to try and attempt to make a play.
Yeah.
So that's, but, I mean, I'm sure they'll be able to analyze what's going to be a win for them and what's not, hopefully.
So, Blue, a.k.a. Celestial Sages, secure red, knowing the disco wasn't in lane. Obviously, that maybe even saw the cast over the wall. She's on the blue. Buff for buff trade. Jing's a little poked out here. Taunt onto the Raijin, make sure he does get the 1. The Raijin actually held 1, didn't even cast it, so we didn't even get that canceled.
Yeah. This Athena, I've noticed a lot of the times when Athena taunts in these tournaments, it's almost like nothing happens. I really wish, I mean, these teams are going to have to communicate and say,
Yep.
hey, I am about to taunt. Hey, I don't have anything up. Those sort of conversations should be happening right now.
Yeah.
I would hate to see another Athena taunt that just gets absolutely no value.
I think it's going to be, a little miss that. See, that dash in we talked about. Is that damage able to be turned around? Yes, most of it is. Here it comes. Good shelled. Is that enough? Should be getting out. And does. So that's what I talked about right away early on, right? As soon as your dash is down, you are getting rooted, you're getting full sent by the DPS, and you better pray that it's just not enough to actually finish you, or you're ulting later on. Ulting the Raijin ult for the CC immunity to get out. I don't know if that continues to go well because of that later on, but we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, the shell buying just enough time, pathing out.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like a typical consequence. I mean, if Sippy Cups, the team decides, hey, like this Athena's dashing and taunting over and over again, let's bait it and let's hold our abilities. I mean, this is almost a guaranteed kill. And I mean, even just forcing the back, like granted they didn't get the kill, they still forced out relics, and now also he's already under leveled, right? So it's even more scary to try and use this dash taunt.
Yeah, I want to see who it hits 5 first. It's typically who's going to play more aggro here on the wave. Raijin wants to get that 1 off without getting it taunted, because it was 2 buffs for 2 buffs, right? So it should be pretty even in farm. Whoever's going to clear this first hit 5 maybe starts to aggro off it. They both hit 5 simultaneously. Mainly because the Athena got poked out, missed half that wave, so allows both these DPSs to hit 5, and she doesn't hit 5, right? So I'm not necessarily thrilled. She's got to be really conscious. She dashes in, she gets CC'd, she's just going to be dead because she doesn't have that CC immunity for her ult. So it's going to be positionally. Hopefully she doesn't play that too aggro, knowing that she doesn't have that escape route if she dashes.
Yeah,
there's that Nash. I think she's got to be the target. She doesn't have the ult. I would have loved to see a Xing Chen ult there right on top of the Hachi, forcing the beads her ult, getting the Athena pre her ult. I think that could have been a kill, maybe a possible.
I think so too. I think that definitely should have been an ult. I mean, between all 3 of their ults, with the Shiba Lanke also blocking the vision, I think that is almost a guaranteed win.
Yeah, there. Okay, here's what we talked about before. Good Expo ult on the Athena dash in taunt, making sure the double DPS didn't have any vision to turn any damage back off that taunt. That's what I was talking about. As soon as you're dashing in, you just should be CC'd on top of the Raijin base damage. You should be just dead. There's no safety on that.
Yeah, I mean, we said it should have happened the first time.
Oh,
luckily, they gave him another chance.
Goodness. Unfortunately, X-Ball able to contact 2, if not 3 of those autos dropping. That's 2 kills right away. And red.
Yeah, that's not good.
And we're invading.
Drop red
that should be all
blue.
4 buffs. That is a big swing for the Celestial Sages. Yeah, I mean, we saw a big comeback yesterday. I'm not thrilled about that, right? That's a pretty big swing right away. Obviously, almost a mountain coming on that side, but...
Almost a mountain.
Almost a fucking mountain.
Yeah, and I mean, these plays are being somewhat handed, I feel like.
The Athena, like I said, when you don't go that, there's no way to close gap. You dash in, you should be just CC'd. Obviously rooted first, then Jing ulted, then Raijin taunted. In that time, X-Wall should be autoing you full time, ulting just for the vision denial off the double DPS. So Athena should be just dead if positionally misplayed for the most part. I think what I'm worried about is if she gets too under-leveled, she's just going to get permanently punished.
Interesting to see the Eggsy on the Shibalanke. I feel like
versus going
usually
Dom right
not.
away, the mana.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely pretty interesting, I feel like. But maybe it's like a first, like, he had 2,200 gold, so he's like, yeah, I mean, Exit is a great item either way.
It might have been a gold situation where he had just enough instead of going into a T2 Dom, buy the full XE, and just go off that versus what you see on the other side with the Cowl T1 Dom, right? So now he's got full 2 items. Decent taunt. Forces the beads. I'm not sure if I'm excited about that. Now, Raijin should be the target. The Raijin now has to have the response time immediately upon Athena taunt or Disco Strife to ult it. And I want to see that return CC.
I mean, honestly, that's just a good play at grabbing the beads for free. I mean, it's not like they really lose anything. There's nothing on the map to really be gained. Maybe they lose a little bit of pressure, but that's a free beads.
You'll join for that? Yeah, I know. We're all about BBC. Now they are. Do they know they're on a? They're not on a ward. That is Celestial Sage's ward, but they do know they're there. Good heads up play.
This could be an insane Athena taunt. I really think that was worth it, at least attempting to get a 3-man taunt.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a dash in it. Well, you can see, but we talked about before. BBC for a big blondie crew, boys. Big blondie crew. Big back coffee, big blonde coward. You know.
You're probably going to get at least the Raijin, right? I mean, surely they get to have enough damage between X-Ball and, I mean, between Hachi and Disco.
Yeah, I mean, the problem, like I said, as soon as you dash in, you're immediately knocked up, so you're not able to taunt right away, and then possibly into a Jing ult, then a Raijin ult, like we talked before. That should be just a permanently target. Now the Hachi has to back away. I'm not thrilled that he would. I mean, he did almost kill it. Yeah. But allows the Athena to get out as well, so they get no target.
Good Athena ult. Good Athena ult.
BBC means big blondie crew. That's what it means. You're welcome. Your mind's out of the gutter. Again, all 4 buffs, though.
Yeah, losing those buffs. I mean, these guys they're playing really well, knowing that since they back, they can grab these buffs for pretty much free.
Yeah.
Just developing a lead off of it. I also like the respect of not trying to force a bullfight. They know they've got a lead. Just keep running with it. No need to no need to risk it.
Yep.
Wait for a mistake from the enemy.
I'm assuming the X-Ball, give me a sec, guys. I'm assuming the X-Ball is backing for a Dom.
Possibly.
Should be right away. He's not. Okay, so he's going to go into an Ozzy. So if we're going to any of the Manos, he's probably not going to be flickering a ton of the 1. I'm not necessarily thrilled by that.
Yeah, maybe he's not leveling the 1, I'm guessing.
Well, let's take a look.
Know if that's the play.
It's leveling the 2 first, and then going into the 1.
Okay, so he will start having some severe mana problems.
Okay. So
unless he's just not utilizing the 1 that much.
Maybe not. I mean, I don't personally like it, right? Because you start running out of mana, then you risk a little immobility because you don't have dash or enough mana for dash. But as long as he's managing his 1 properly or his ability casting, I think we should be fine, which he's going to be doing well, right? He's hovering the blue, obviously blue buff being an aura. So he's maintaining just fine. Shouldn't see it as an issue. I want to see blue, obviously team comp, in my opinion, be a little bit more better or favored, especially early, considering Athena, you're taunting like we talked about before, you're dashing in, unless you have DPS really follow up on that, which I don't see until happening late game. I kind of favor blue, the Celestial Sages. I want to see them get a little bit more active than they are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's maybe the Athena taunt. They're scared of just giving value without them having to dash, but yeah, I do feel like they definitely should be taking fights. Like, there's no reason to really be scared here.
They have forward buff twice, though, so maybe they're just waiting for buff rotation, force that fight then, right?
Actually, maybe they're waiting for second relic. I'd imagine that's probably the biggest spike for them.
Yeah. I would like to see this next fight first, second, the 4 buff rotation.
I mean, they also could be waiting for another blunder by
Athena.
The team.
Yeah.
Waiting for an opening, and then they can push for a bull.
A little interesting that the Jing Chen elected to go Glad. There's that. Now she got a triple taunt for the record. Gets a triple Jing Chen ult, forcing beads on both DPSs because neither one of them ulted immediately. That is huge by Jing Chen returned. However,
Yeah,
now
really
they get red. Jing should be fine. There's the disco ult. I love that ult by Jing Chen, forcing a ton there.
I don't really like that disco. I'm not really sure what the thought process of was that for.
Yeah. I wanna see us punish that.
I mean, I don't really get why this disco isn't throwing the ult off the Athena taunt though. To be completely honest, like
she should be ulting or immediately strife then ult.
Because they're all gonna be like together, especially
decent
right
taunt,
then.
but
Like,
we get a nice root. Decent root forces the dash. What I want to see first and foremost, I want to see this Raijin ult the Athena taunt and immediately start taunting like we talked about.
Raijin definitely needs to. I mean, they should also be keeping note of that, right? Like, hey, like they're not even like using anything.
Yeah.
Make sure you get cast off, because to be honest, like no one's really casting off this Athena, even though it's really even though it's happening. Like that was a 2-man taunt.
Yeah.
But
no, it was.
then they all decided to like walk forward, so that way they would all be next to the Jing Shin, which was just a mistake.
Now, Sages have a sentry here, right? That's actually about to be dropped by this. It's Caesars, bro. Caesars champions. We got to get that mouthful out on it. Caesars, we'll just call them champions for now. Our little Caesars, oh my god. They took sentry control of this choke point. This choke point's really pivotal, especially for Sages, because that's where typically you're going to path in for Bull. I want to see a sentry control of Bull, if that is what they're going to do. Obviously, first and foremost, like we said, I want to see them punish this Athena on dash taunt, but
I think that sentry's perfect. It's just to where like it causes like
forces
insecurity.
Jing all a little off the mark on that one.
Yeah, and Athena's able to get out. They shouldn't even get punished here.
Yeah.
Maybe they go Bull, but they're still relatively.
That's actually huge value for Sages, or for Caesars, I'm sorry, Caesars champions, because you got Raijin beads. That's a big dash. Is that enough, though? I'm not sure I would have ulted knowing they would have ulted that.
Yeah, but it does stall them time. They're still on it.
No, he's unhealthy.
He is
unhealthy. Oh, no! Oh, no! Volt Demon OP! That is unfortunate.
They should definitely fight this. They should definitely
Caesars definitely should push.
No, not the right targeting.
That should be a death on the disco. 100%. Jing Chen popped Horn Shard. Secures it with Glat. Now we're off target. That's dash on the Raijin, but there's no damage follow-up with that.
Oh, no.
They did secure Bull, so this should be tower, even though they lost that X-Ball. You got to be careful. Big dash in. Awareness by the Raijin. Not getting the stun for the Raijin 1 via the Hachi dash. A little unfortunate. Jing even ulting. Now this is just falling apart. Unfortunate. What turned into a blunder by the Sages turned completely around based off mispositioning.
Maybe he had a sound cue. I guess that's the only way he would have known.
For that dash over the wall?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Must have probably had like a voice line activated. If so, that is extremely unlucky.
Yeah.
But also no real point in being there, in my opinion. Like, there's no reason to be sitting on that blue.
No, especially that low. You just back off.
Yeah,
Dying right there secured that they got bird.
Yeah,
it was a blunder. It was staggering death timers. Obviously, a blunder across the board for them.
Yeah.
But I want to see how they recover. It is still able to come back. X-Ball looks like electing to go into Fail Not. No Ozzy, no Dom. So no sustain, no mana sustain either. We're just going straight damn Mahe. Not against it. Plenty of pen online. Should be shredding. As long as we have that burst available. Maybe that even plays to, again, like we said, focusing that Athena on that dash. Still no second relic, right? No blink. No way to cover that gap. She dashes. She should be just CC'd and killed. Or forced to ult at minimum. Yeah, I think I'm a big promoter of if you're gonna run that Athena, you got to run a comp around it almost, and have it. It's gotta feel like they're forced to beach that taunt, and you have an escape, almost maybe even like a Sobek, right? Like you're dashing in, taunting, you're forced to ult for the CC immunity back out, right? For that safety. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she finds that value that we want to see across the board. Bull Demon has more kills than the whole.
I mean, also at this point, it's just they're too far behind, really, to
yeah. The level and itemization,
100%,
100%.
Yeah. So this is the problem I feel like with Athena is like, she's great when you're ahead, like amazing, gets so much value, but as soon as she falls behind and she can't dash taunt, she almost becomes like a bystander.
She's got to force. She should have been forced to ult right there, and she doesn't. She has to ult upon landing. Unfortunately, just not enough. Good Jing Blink ult, knowing that the Athena was a target, knowing she doesn't have second relic. I would have liked to see a better response time from the Athena, but that CC immunity to try to CC immune either ult right away on the Jing Blink ult. That should be just game. X-Wall autoing the Titan through its entirety. That is GG.
Yeah.
A lot of that came around how that front line was played. Maybe we just favor going that double front line for Caesars, right?
Yeah, I definitely think. I just feel like tank is such a pivotal role, especially in Joust. Like you have to find a way to get value, get these relics off, and make that front line feel like, or make your back line feel like they're safe.
Yeah. Wave number 1 right away. Let me go to items, pull up damage. Glad we jumped in right away. All right. Anything catches our eyes? Obviously, Zhang. We are seeing a Bluestone Shield. She is going the ability-based Medusa. Obviously, recognizing that little bit of a change on her buffs, a couple of patches previously versus the ability-based. Versus auto-attack based. I don't know if I favor that, though, especially with the Atlas. She's pretty beefy. Maybe need a Kins and more so auto-attack into the tank, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they decide to elect to play a big damage. Unable to connect the autos from Medusa, though. That should pretty much secure red, forcing blue, aka Caesars, to go to their blue.
Yeah, I don't even know how that happens, to be honest. That's crazy to me.
Thank you, by the way, for yelling at me again. Appreciate that, Nico. I'm just dumb. All right, obviously, looks like Jing Chen trying to get a little active. There's that dash. We didn't catch it. Now, if we would have caught that dash, I think that would have been a dead Atlas.
Yeah, it definitely would have been. Definitely need to, look out for that, right? Like, that should have been free first blood.
I do want to see the Sages be a little bit conscious to try to wait for that dash to cancel it versus dumping their CC and then him just dashing out. However, they did just 4 buffs, so they have that pressure. They will hit 5 first. I want to see how they decide to play off of it. Obviously, both teams are going to elect to back here. Both DPS is hitting 5. Xing Chen not having 5. Shells on both tanks. Nothing out of the ordinary quite yet. Again, that micro adjustment wasn't made. Now, like we talked about, I would love to see this Sages roster just punish this Atlas over and over and over again because of the lack of CC immunity. No beads, no absolution online for a while here, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'd imagine most of the time this Atlas is going to be the one getting bullied. He's just going to have to position himself to where... he's still really tanky, right? Like, even if they dump their entire kits onto him, it doesn't necessarily mean he's guaranteed going to die, especially in Shell. So, that entire time they're dumping their kits into him, hopefully his teammates are able to capitalize something.
It is a little disrespectful. However, he's just got to be really positionally aware. Here's that, and he doesn't have dash. All right.
Not bad.
It's not a bad play. Obviously, they still have pressure here. A little bit of a pause. See, this is what I talked about earlier, right? Where if the Persephone Atlas favors even game state and obviously really ahead, it's oppressive because of the area AoE damage of the plants with the Atlas, the what are you gonna call that? I'm gonna blank on the fucking ability. Able to be to throw that a ton of area range damage, but if they're behind, I think they just die here, right?
Who? Which team?
The Persephone, Atlas, Hachi, right? Caesars.
No, I actually think they're able to turtle really well with the Persephone flowers. Just being able to cast and pretty much have no sense of threat is pretty strong for them. I mean, Atlas also, like, even if he gets bullied early, he's so tanky, and his ult is just so good in team fights. I mean, he's going to get value one way or another, just being able to cast.
Yep. I would agree Absolution will probably have to be a pickup, right? Because he didn't go the beads, and he won't get beads until level 12. So I think that will be a must. It's just a matter of he's got to get Thebes online first, so it is pretty delayed. While it might be nice, I want to see the Sages punish that early based off mispositioning, but I think he's already done a lot better than what he did game 1 with the Athena dashing in and trying to taunt that and not finding an escape. So we're learning lessons. Like I said, we got the Transcendence on the Medusa. So she is going that ability-based ADC versus the auto attack. A little bit of an adjustment, if you will. There's some of that range poke. Hachi 1, Atlas Orb. I'm just going to call it Orb, even though it's not what it's called.
Yeah, these are best of 3.
Yeah, all league sets will be best of 3. I appreciate the wishes, Wagner. I read that, by the way. Like I said, we'll start next split beginning of next year. Obviously, this is an 8-week Joust League, so I'm excited to see how it plays out. Really excited to see all these teams. And hopefully, as we grow, see more people. That is his dash. Now, this is that moment we talked about. His dash is down, so I want to see that punished right away. Here it is. All right. All 3 ults dumped immediately. As soon as the Atlas dash is down, because he doesn't have Absolution or Beads, he should be just considered dead at that point. A little
not only that, but his team is already pretty weak, right? Like, they're not even scared of if the other team cast him too. So, I mean, I would just call that an all-around blue loss.
Yeah. Medusa trying to focus on stacking the Transcendence. One of the Atlas positioning. What's up, Greatest? Afternoon to you. I'm not sure why we cast it over the wall. I think he was trying to steal that. Hachi made a big play there. Almost killed the Medusa. Heads up play on the shell. Obviously, it was a little late. That almost killed.
Would have been really nice if the Headless, was able to recognize
contact
that.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe try and block that dash.
That would have been a big heads-up play on the chemistry and conversation. Would have been a big return kill, if you will. Maybe even getting that kill on the Hachi kind of.
I wonder when Hachi knew though
that call should have been made. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stanks, how are you, man? Here's that area AoE damage like we talked about before. Look at the plants, the Atlas Orb just going out. Constant poke. Forcing wave under tower, losing Sages. That gold from that wave is pretty pivotal. Not able to stomp that back. They did ping Bull. This is really early. Hachi only has Griffin starter T1. Do you think they have enough before they join?
I think this is a terrible
I think this is ambitious. And it is. Yeah. They drop. Yeah, I think until you see at least 2 items, if not 2.5, that call is
they could have got those,
ambitious. The Chesters,
yeah. I mean, now
they're the ones poked.
Yeah, now they're in the ones bad position. Yeah, I just think those calls are just so ambitious, and honestly, I think blue
surely we're not the one pulling it, right? We're not going to make common error, and they are. Oh my, these bull pulls.
Well, I actually think Red's team's bull pull is a lot.
I think it's stronger, but she's still ability based. She's not auto attack.
Yeah, she's ability based, but the problem is they don't really want to get to this late game, so it's a little bit more, I feel like, justified for them to try and attempt to.
I kind of hate how the Medusa hasn't been hovering, mainly on the wave to prioritize the stacking. She's only at 17. The LeFay's kind of been splitting almost half at 50-50 on wave clear. She's pulling now. I'm not. See, this is what we're talking about the auto attack. She doesn't have that sustain. This call seems poor. She gets caught here. Yeah. Hachi does have ult.
I'd say both of these calls are bad. I just don't really think either team should be able to grab this.
Yeah. No, oh my god. The LeFay caught Persephone in the meantime. That is a 1-for-1 trade. That was what went from amazing for the
Yeah,
Caesars champions, went dead even.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
LeFay beats, try to
Wait,
get
can
a
we go
cast on
back?
Hachi.
Can we
I
see
will
how-
watch that in a second, but we got to watch, see how this plays out. Misses 2 out of the 3, hits the 3rd. Isn't enough. Does she have the
He's
damage?
by himself. It's a 2v1.
There's the fear. LeFay
Yeah.
is doing damage right now.
Yeah. LeFay is doing a lot.
Now let's go back real quick. I want to watch this 1v1. Here it is right here. It's that CC.
Let's get the whole wave there, too. Just didn't even see him.
Hits all 3. That is crazy. Both DP. Honestly, that went from phenomenal for the Caesars, picking up the Medusa, who, in my opinion, was a troll bull pull altogether. I think they just get that and walk away. Went in their favor.
I don't really know how that goes so bad for Caesars. I mean, honestly, it should have just been, hey, we got a free kill. Let's back off and regroup. And somehow it went to 2 people died for relatively no reason.
I have to say, this isn't troll or BM. I hate how this Medusa isn't prioritizing a wave, especially when she's going Transcendence to get that online ASAP. She's kind of hovering this bull over and over again, and we're just not. We're letting LeFay clear it, which I'm not thrilled by. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, they definitely need to start hitting these waves. I don't think I've seen them on a wave for the last, minute or two. Obviously, waves are a lot more XP than these buff sides.
Yeah.
Great to control the buffs, but at the end of the day, the wave always takes priority.
The big change, obviously, for those that don't know, to Joust, I'm going to hover this way. At the beginning of this year was the buff to towers, buff to minion waves, the change to XP for the wave itself, in substantially more value than the buffs. Obviously, XP and gold depleted on the buffs themselves. So wave, especially when you're having Transcendence, should be prio in my opinion. Really interesting to see that they're not prioritizing that at all.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of surprised. Just looking at these damage numbers, it doesn't seem like blue team is just able to
Catch
get
the dash?
anything to connect.
Isn't enough.
Wow, he got out.
This is hold on. We don't know. They do secure it. The ult's there, but not anything to follow up on DPS. I'm not seeing it. I would have liked to have seen, especially a double magical, right? With the Jingchen LeFay and Absolution right away. If he didn't elect to go beads, instead we went the Glass Shield on the Atlas. Obviously helping in damage. I don't think it's itemization that's the issue as much as positioning and just general chemistry. But that also goes to the, even like we talked about, Medusa positioning, not going for the wave, stacking Transcendence, and pulling these bulls. Not being AA, this is hurt. Look at she's putting herself in a bad spot again. This Hachi making a heads-up play, just not able to get the ult off to kill the LeFay on that 1v1.
Good people there.
Like we're forcing plays now.
Blue team is just not able to get any damage off. I mean, this Morgan LeFay is basically running the game.
Terrified Sippy Cup, aka Celestial Sages, won last game. I mean, to be fair, I think both teams are a little split up. I think the LeFay is finding it in an obscene amount of value right now, unpunished almost. While the Medusa's been on bull, I think this has just been lackluster on both sides. I think neither have been punished.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think both sides are playing relatively poor.
And that isn't a knock. This is first step, right? There's a lot to work through. There's a lot still to learn. I mean, we're getting close to this Medusa finally getting Transcendent stacked. It is only 11 minutes in. I feel like that would have been already done, though. Prioritizing that wave and maybe even hit level 12 for second relic. Now we could go red. So I just need to see a little bit more from that and see how that goes.
Yeah, Morgan Le Fay does get a lot of the poke, the range.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't necessarily have a dash, she's still got pretty high mobility. She's a great mage in Joust for sure.
It is interesting. We have a sentry here for Sages and only a reg here versus the opposite. Decent poke. Now we're all inning. Good Jing channel for the CC immunity. That should be just an Atlas dead. Again, no beads or absolution, which would have been needed in immediate response. I agree. MILF is very good, though. Big damage by this LeFay, forcing dash right away.
Yeah, I mean now they're
That is
definitely.
crazy damage.
I was about to say they shouldn't even think about trying to contest at this point. They're just literally losing a 1v2.
Good return damage, though, from the Persephone. Obviously, not enough in the meantime for the Sages to secure bolt. I want to see
Honestly,
Sages back here, though.
not terrible. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they definitely should be backing, as they are. Not terrible position for blue. I mean, there's still a chance they can actually defend this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's very likely. They still want to get to late game, but using the bull for tower is not terrible.
I think, in answer to that, Wagner, I think Atlas has to go Beats or Absolution, especially in a 3-man when you're a solo frontline. Typically, you're the focus into a traditional comp. They're going to punish your impositioning or lack of CC immunity, especially with some grid lockdown. And then once that tank's dead, the other team kind of facilitates the map, right? So it's very stereotypical that that's going to be needed right away, and that wasn't picked up, so it makes it a little bit awkward here for the Caesars champions.
You also, if you're not gonna, I mean, there is a certain play style for these tanks when they don't have beads, right? Like they need to either create separation, they need to make sure that the damage dealers
that is
can't
crazy damage, and he secures it. Unfortunate. No second relic, aka level 12 for the Hachi to have Aegis as of yet. Easily secured. I don't know if this is the push. That is just enough damage. The Jing Blink ult immediately stops the Pride 1 proc enough, and it is to pick up the Persephone on the tail end. The Blink ult for the CC immunity, grabbing that purse. Enough damage on the Pride 1 proc. This is huge. Now, we got to be a little careful. The Lefay is poked down. Atlas does not have ult. However, he has some range damage. Elects to throw it on the wave. This should be just burden out.
Yeah. Yeah, they should just be back in here. I mean, that's criminal.
That is an unfortunate. Obviously, that blink, Jing Chen just getting in front of that purse ult so it doesn't get on the Lefay or Medusa, and he immediately ults, eating that and pushing forward toward that purse is really well played altogether. A little unfortunate, if you will, for the Persephone as well.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to shut this Morgan Le Fay down, to be honest. This Morgan Le Fay is putting in way too much work.
Yeah. Destroyer, appreciate the raid. Hopefully you're streaming it well. Sippy is popping off on the Xing Chen. Really happy to see her doing so well.
Yeah, getting that kill onto Taylor was huge.
Yeah, that damage, honestly, knowing the hurt, no hesitation on that ult, immediately throwing it to secure it as the Hachi was ulting away was really well played. This Lefay is playing very confident. Good ult for the CC immunity, securing the kill. Fearless dash immediately catches the dash in Atlas. That should be game. Hachi doesn't have ult.
They didn't have vision of it. They walked out.
That should be pretty much GG. Curtains, unfortunately, for the Caesars champions. Really well played on both teams. Like I said, there's some micro adjustments that can be made. Maybe an overall team comp, maybe going to a double tank, etc. But honestly, in Absolution, Beads, knowing that the Jing Chen Medusa want to lock down the Atlas with the positioning. I think there was mishaps on both teams. Really excited to see how both these teams play out in future. But obviously that was